Hey everyone, welcome to Love Them Well. My name is Lindsay and I'm here with my good friend Megan. And we are so excited today to be interviewing Leia Johnson, an author that has written a beautiful book called Sister. Hello, Leia.
Hi,
We are
thanks
so
for having
glad.
me.
Yes, thank you for being here. We are so glad that you're here with us. So, you wrote this book called Sister, and it just came out to be for you to be able to buy. And it is getting super awesome reviews. It's number one right now for children's books on orphans and foster, number one for children's books about adoption. You must be so proud.
Yeah, the reception has been kinder and broader than we ever would have expected. So we're really excited to see people responding to the book the way they are, and how excited people are to be reading it.
Yes. Well, and this book is about fostering adoption. It's about this family that brings kids into the home and how the parents react, how the kid reacts. And it's just a beautiful story. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
what was your inspiration to write this book?
So ultimately, I was, inspired by our own family. We are a foster and adoptive family. When we lived there in Southern Illinois, where you are, we're also a military family, so we don't live there any longer. But when we were there, we decided to become foster parents. And at the time, we had two older boys that were 8 and 11. And we decided this was an adventure that our family wanted to go on. And we saw the need for foster parents, and felt like we were a good match for that system. And so we became foster parents. We fostered children that did not stay with us forever, but eventually we did adopt two biological siblings, two sisters, and they are part of our family forever. And so through that experience, I learned so much that I didn't know about foster care before I became a foster parent. And I also figured out that there's a lot of people that have a lot of misconceptions about foster care and adoption. And so, one, I wanted the book to be a representation of all the families out there that live this lifestyle of fostering and adopting, because I couldn't find books on the market where foster families were represented in this way, in picture book form. And then two, I wanted to tell a story that, in 36 pages could give people a real picture of what foster care looked like, because a lot of people just don't understand how it works. And I didn't want to do that in a instructional way. I wanted it to be a story that you could read and really understand the experience of fostering. And so that was my inspiration. I've been writing my whole life, and at the time I was part of a writing group, a critique group there in Illinois, and I had brought lots of projects to them. And this was one that was kind of a project of catharsis for me, because we had been through this experience, and it was, really, people always say it's a story of the heart about books like this, that it was a story that had to get out. I needed it out of my head and out of my heart. And I took it to the group, and everyone just responded so positively that I thought, well, maybe there's something here. But then, that was 4 years ago that I wrote it. And
Wow.
so that gives you an idea of how long it takes to publish a book.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I have other books that I thought might get published first, but this is the first one that got published. So
Wow.
So tell us about that journey, about your collaboration with your friend and editor and the illustrator.
yes, so oddly enough, this is not how traditional publishing generally works, but it's my story. And the longer that I work in the publishing world, the more I realize that no two stories are the same. But basically, so I am actually friends with both the publisher and editor, and which is the same person, and also the illustrator of this book. And typically with picture books, a publisher will say, I want to sell your book, and then they find you an illustrator, and there's not very much collaboration between the author and the illustrator. I don't know why that's how publishing works, but that's how it works. And so I felt really grateful, because Katie Odie, who is the publisher of this book, she started a publishing company after she is a published author. She has worked in publishing for a decade or more. And she started a publishing company because she recognized kind of a gap in the market as well from a publishing standpoint, where there were a lot of talented authors and illustrators that were being kept out of the market. And she wanted to open a company that really focused on getting diverse stories with, unique stories, unique settings, unique characters, getting those books into the world that maybe a bigger publishing house would pass on because they didn't want to market those books. And so she started this publishing company and asked if this project could be her first project, because we had a personal relationship and she thought, I need somebody who's going to trust me to do this since this is my first time doing it. And so that's how I ended up, with this contract to publish this book. And then she picked another member of our critique group there from Southern Illinois to be the illustrator. And this is someone that I was also friends with. And one of the beautiful parts of this entire experience has been a truly collaborative process between all of us. And I think that's why the book works so well, is because I was able to say things to S.J. Winkler is the illustrator, and we call her Sam. So I was able to say things to Sam, like, it's really, really important to me that this concept is included in the book. I didn't tell her what to draw because that's her area of expertise, but I would tell her, it's important to me that this family by the end of the book still has connections with these children who don't stay in their home forever, because that is our experience. That is our experience with fostering, is that we've tried to keep those connections open when possible. And so I gave her those ideas, and then she ran with it and came with these beautiful illustrations.
It's amazing. I was blown away by the richness of the illustrations, but also the writing. And I think you don't always get that with picture books, where you get both really rich literature within a book. I mean, this is something an adult would enjoy. Even if you don't have kids, you could sit and read this and be like, I just read something really well written. So I'm just impressed by you so much. And then just to be able to have the illustrations be that amazing too. It's incredible. It's an incredible book.
Yeah, I find little Easter eggs hidden in there every time I go through and look at it, and I'm just excited. One, because I know the backstory, so I'm looking for them. So I love sharing that part of the message, and I had no idea that. Like, it seems outrageous to me that an illustrator would not work with the author of a book, and you could have these disparate ideas about the same book and coming out. But I know we talked earlier and you said, like, that doesn't happen. I love my book. And so,
Yeah.
and I think that shows here also, it shines through. So that's really awesome. What kind of opportunities has this book opened up for you? I know you've talked about it being a conversation starter to talk about foster. Tell us about the journey that it's taking you on so far, just in the week since it's come out.
Right. So it came out last Tuesday, and already I've had such a huge response from people reaching out to, ask for interviews on YouTube channels, but also just other fostering organizations, other the adoption agency that we adopted through has placed a large order of the books, because the CEO of Caritas said, this is a book that we want to promote for you, because this captures the fostering and adopting experience so well. And he said, I want everyone I work with to read this book. And so, which is a huge compliment coming from someone that, I mean, his entire life's work is, working within the foster care system. So we're just seeing a lot of people respond to the book in a way that both furthers the conversation about foster care and adoption, but is opening, people's minds to the idea of fostering. And, ultimately that is what I want to see happen here. Is I want people excited about fostering and adopting in a way that they get engaged in that world.
Yeah. Well, I think the book definitely does that. I want to know, do you have a favorite picture in the book?
Well, there's a really sad one that is one of my favorites, because every time I get to it, I still, when I read it out loud, I cry every single time. I get to the one page where the little girl is standing in the window, looking out the window by herself. But I think my favorite is actually something that Sam, she drew these pictures of them dancing to music. There's two different pages where they're dancing to music. And the second one, there's a line about how their voices crack on the high notes. And Katie, the publisher, had the idea of drawing the musical notes cracked. So the actual musical notes around them while they're singing are all cracked. And I love it because it's such a moment of joy in the book between these two sisters. And they aren't even sisters yet in the book, but they're just kids having fun. And, you know, so much of what we talk about with foster care and adoption is so heavy, and rightly so. Those are very heavy topics. But I think if we focus only on the grief that's involved in foster care and adoption, we miss out on those joyful moments, which are just kids being kids, you know. And that's been our experience, is that a lot of the kids who have come through our home have sad stories that come with them. And but once they're here and they're just hanging out, eating peanut butter and jelly and playing games and running through the sprinkler, they're just kids, you know. And so I really wanted to capture that as well, because I think that is all of life, right? All of life is that mixture of joy and grief, and in the middle of the bad stuff, there's always something you can hold on to that's joyful. And so I think that's something that the book captures well, as you have these these really joyful moments and then also some very sad moments.
Yes. I mean, I teared up throughout the whole book. There were parts where I'm like, this is a kid's book. But it's not. It is not just a kid's book. And yeah, it's just amazing. So yeah. This is wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I just hope for even more success. I know that it is selling out places, and you guys are already on your second round of printing, which is
That's awesome.
a huge deal for a children's book to even go into a second round.
Yes. So if people go to buy the book and it says there's none left in stock or very few left in stock, don't worry, go ahead and order it. We're getting a second print run going. So, you know, eventually we will have more books, but yes, they're selling a lot faster than we thought they would.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Well, we're going to link your book below. So anyone that wants to purchase one, look at the description box. We'll get that link there. And thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thanks, Leia.
This has been so much fun. I'm so thankful for technology that we can do this from Virginia to Illinois on a Thursday morning. So
thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.